Welcome back to Talking Stupid.
I'll happily keep on chatting about any D&D thing people want to have. I'll happily keep on chatting about any D&D thing people want to have.
Stupid. Definitely worth the wait. This time on Talking Stupid, we get to welcome back our fabulous cast and crew for the C4 finale, the wrap-up to Dwayne's beautiful second campaign to Goarahn. And I'm joined by the full Lawful Stupid cast this time. So we have Abon here with us. Say hi, Abon.
Hi, Abon.
Every time.
You're welcome.
And of course, Devin Davenport.
Hi. Hey, what's up? Abon's still my thing, so whatever.
I got first. Too bad, so sad.
You can have a new thing. What do you want? You want me to throw you something else?
Yeah, throw me something else.
Say howdy, Devin.
Howdy, Devin.
So happy.
Thank you. Carry on.
Truly made his night better.
Right. Just here to make you guys feel good. Shane, obviously, we got you here on the mic.
Yeah, I'm here, and I would never steal Devin's bit.
Yeah, no stepping on toes. And of course, the DM to our C4 campaign, we've got Dwayne Peden.
I'm here, and I just wanted you guys to know that it was my idea to not steal Devin's bit, and I've just been so gentlemanly about it.
It's true. Dwayne texted me 30 minutes before this and was like, hey, we're going to not steal Devin's bit tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing hurts Dwayne more than when somebody has an idea and then like somebody else will jump in and snatch it and say it first. Like
Just total thought plagiarism.
Yeah.
That would never happen in an episode of Final Girl or anywhere else.
Nope. Not even real life.
And and of course, I had to save the most exciting part, the best for last. The first time on Talking Stupid, we've got our audiomancer, Ginger. How's it going, Ginger Loaf?
What's up, everybody?
I was going to say, how come when you said his name, there was a swelling fanfare?
Well, yeah, that was a whole 5 minutes of audio. I blacked out.
So, I feel like I did him under justice. The amount of accolades that Ginge gets is never enough. So,
Hey, Zeebs, this is when you could be like, hey, Ginge, add in some more fanfare for us, please.
No, you leave me how I was. Raw and uncut.
Title your sex tape.
Hey.
All right, but we do have a lot to run through to get this finale going. All the Q&As for the whole season, and we've got quite a lot of patrons and Discordians that have submitted their questions as well. So I kind of want to just dive right into it if you guys are ready.
I love diving.
Let's go.
All right. Well, to kick us off from the last Talking Stupid, because we haven't quite reached the battle with the Grand Magus yet, we left off right before another huge battle that you guys had, almost maybe more difficult, was your guys' fight with Aya. And, luckily we had Drake bust out his trump card, his nuclear foot, as it were.
The final kick in the pants.
Right. But I feel like after that battle was over, there was like a swell of like relief. I don't know that you guys were sure that you were going to make it through. So what were the feelings post fighting? I mean, really like your first full on God fight, right?
That was a really tough fight. I remember being a little bit of a cheerleader in between the recording sessions, being like, "Hey guys, if you don't believe we're gonna kill God, we're not gonna kill God. Like you have to want this." So my attitude from beginning to end was one of just like, "We've got this."
Shane's cheerleading definitely helped during that process. We were both talking about how sweaty we were about it because it's a stressful.
Sweatiest. The sweatiest gang in town.
But also, Shane has a particular Final Fantasy fight music going on in the background. And so I adopted that during this entire fight to be playing in the back of my headphones really low, but it was going. And I was like, okay, pump, just go.
Find the Flame from Final Fantasy 16 was my unofficial fucking God-slaying music for the end of Campaign 4. I hyped myself up for the Grand Magus fight the same way.
And I'm constantly just trying to learn how to play my character, so the whole time I'm just looking at my character sheet learning, can I do that? Is that the rules? Let me go back and look at the rules real quick. So
he says that, but he fucking showed up.
He did.
It's because Shane told me what the rules were for my character before we got started. All right, here, bud, here's what you're going to do. Let me help you out.
I did not.
Honestly, Devin, with as many characters as you shuffled through, I actually am slightly amazed that at some point you didn't like try to use an ability that you no longer had. like Osiris is gonna rage, and
but I'll be attacking recklessly.
That's what love does to you. Reckless abandon. Let's do it.
Dwayne, what was the feel from the DM's chair? Because that was a momentous and hard fought battle. What was going through your head?
With the Aya one or the Grand Magus one?
Yeah, with Aya.
Oh, I mean, like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? Like, you guys asked for a god to come fight you. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad you lived.
I think if we hadn't won against Aya, I don't think we would have struggled way more on the Grand Magus. I feel like that fight was. I do feel like it was the tougher of the two fights, and I feel like it was because that fight set us up for success going into the final battle.
Yeah, it's kind of like
there's like the optional boss fight that was harder, but you get like enough experience and loot from it that you're like, all right, now we can kill the real main boss.
There's something in WoW, I can't remember what it's called, but when you're raiding, like if you can beat a certain boss, it's like a stat check or whatever. It's like that. It's like, all right, if you can get over that one, the next boss isn't actually as hard. It's still tough. It's just a little more complicated.
Okay. Was there ever any point you were worried that like there might be an abrupt end? Like we won't get the GM showdown because Aya's finishing this.
Let me tell you. If Aya would have killed them, Grand Magus would have succeeded. It would have changed things drastically. But our heroes are their heroes. Episode. I was prepared if she murdered them to be like, this is where we end, and this is how it unfolds.
Here's the epilogue.
Yep. Let me talk about my boy for 45 minutes.
Dwayne's at home just like he's deleting. He has to delete the 45-minute monologue he did. Now we won.
He made it very clear that he was ready for us to lose any of those last encounters. Like,
yeah,
he did not care.
No, I mean it would have been a good story. Truthfully, once you hit those last few fights, win or lose, those are good stories.
Yeah.
Now, if you go out like a punk to a bunch of vampires as a group, like that sucks.
Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt.
I mean the whole group, you know, not just you. One's fine.
I made it out. I don't know what you're talking about.
It got hairy for sure.
I can tell you from the editing seat, I actually experienced a lot of tension on that Aya fight. I was like, I wasn't ready because Dwayne and I don't. You know, I let him play the game, and then I edit after that, and I just kind of flow with wherever the team goes. and I don't know the outcome. I don't know what's going on there. And I was like, is this about to, like, is this where we stop? Is this going to be it? And am I going to have to, like, just pivot everything right here and get really sad and somber and tell a different story at the end?
Do I need to be making a dirge right now?
But I think tension is a really good element in storytelling. So I think it's kind of a nice thing to have.
I think it was palpable, you know. I think you could feel it in the moment. And then we got you got the last warp booster, getting Bellamere all absorbed in there, and we got to the GM fight, and Dwayne, you killed us with like that initial jaw drop moment when you copper coffined. What like, just walk me through like the feeling of getting to pull that out, and then
even before that, just pulling out the silhouettes. Oh, here's Miss B. Oh, here's Avia. Like he came at us with our own hearts.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, I did that.
Why, Dwayne? Tell us why.
Because storytelling is about evoking emotions. They don't always have to be good ones. It was, you know what? Truthfully, I the only reason Copper Coffin came up is I was like, this is the Grand Magus. He's got to have like some cool ass moves. And so I went back to the Fendel spell book. And so when I was slipped, I saw it and I was like, that's going to be the most beautiful thing ever. And so I shit you not, I can't see Shane's face right now because the way his camera is, but I shit you not, I was like ready to like cast it. I just like looked up. I'm like, I can't wait to see his reaction. I can't wait to see his reaction. As I describe the spell before I name it, I was like, I was so satisfying to see Shane's reaction.
As a box setter, yeah, that moment right there was worth every penny all season long for just that.
7 years in the making.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, 7 years for that joke to land.
Season 1.
Yeah, and to, well, you know, before I pivot on that, Shane, what was that like when it came back to you?
I was truly nightmare afraid because I thought he was going to hit me with every nonsense move that we've ever pulled. You know how like so I don't want to call us out as a podcast too much, but sometimes you'll find yourself in a moment where it feels like, oh no, all this tension's built up, how are we ever going to possibly move forward? And then like some Deus Ex Machina sort of mechanic happens and then you move through it. Like, I don't know, like a standoff on a bridge against a bunch of demons, and then like as a last ditch effort you strum a lute. And maybe we've been echoing that motif for 7 years. So I thought every one of those moments was going to hit us. I thought we were going to get hit with the loot. I thought we were going to get hit by Ultimate Final Techniku Implosion. I thought we were going to get hit with everything from every season.
I really thought about doing that. Move. Like, no joke, because I had the idea of like, if you go to beat him, I'm going to do a Begone bit, and then he's going to come back healed.
Right, yeah.
But I was like, those aren't like, it was bad enough in my mind to be snatching your characters out of the campaigns for the silhouettes. I was like, listen, if they do other campaigns, they're going to pull from their own shit. Like,
yeah, that's true. He had to know that he was setting the
stage, the bar,
the rules of engagement for this weaponry and all the time to come.
I will say,
like if he didn't show restraint,
level 10 train mending,
we'd be like,
Because I was just thinking, instead of like mending, it's just you're throwing trains at them. I'm like,
that's ridiculous, Dwayne. That's
Just
the dumbest thing I've ever
I
heard.
took it too far. I get it.
No, it would have been sick. If we had like a part where we hop on the train and we
and
ride
like running,
and it warps next to it, man, that would have been cool. You know what? In fact, let's go re-record it like professionals.
A good and different time. So with that too, Dwayne, I kind of wanted to ask you, you had a handful of characters picked out as our silhouettes. We had Avia, Miss B,
Breeze, and Paul Barrow.
Breeze and Paul Barrow. Anything that gravitated you towards those as your picks with like we just said, 7 years worth of characters to draw from?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Avia has a close relationship to Shane's heart via Kristoff, right? Devin loved Paul Barrow a lot in a lot of different ways, but loved his ending. Mrs. B is just right. And then Breeze has been one of my favorite NPCs. Like, you're so cool. God, he's so cool. Like, that was my favorite bit in campaign 3. Just every time he showed up.
I hated you guys when you started doing it. I did.
So cool.
I thought you were spitting in the face of my characters.
Well, it started that way. Honestly, it started that way to make fun of the name Breeze. And after like the third time, I was like, this is my favorite fucking bit. I'm so happy.
Shane said at some point he was a good character too. I mean,
he was a good character.
God, you put bad juju stink on me that whole campaign, Devin.
What do you mean?
The whole campaign, you thought I was trying to undermine and undercut you, and I only loved you and enjoyed the experience.
No, I know. I gave you like a run around steal pants scene, so you're welcome.
Yeah, that was my favorit.
It was a good one.
And it's Tuk Tuk stink, not Juju stink.
Yeah.
You put the Gia Squam stink on me. The stank.
I kind of want to just do a quick roundtable of like, because it like you guys all had your moments, but what were the highlights for you guys in that final battle against Grand Magus? Like memorable parts for each of you.
I got it. Darling staying dead in the dirt.
That was good.
The murmuring spells and face down in the dirt was very funny.
I stay down.
Yeah, but Dwayne, didn't you roll to see if you noticed it too? I mean, like, so it wasn't just. I can't remember if you rolled
didn't
to perceive
because
that.
she had like very well thought that through. He was occupied enough with the giant fucking dragon laying down apocalypse to him. Like, seeing if the woman he just dirt napped is like moving low on his priorities, right? Like, if someone goes down and isn't moving for the most part, you're like, let me just stare at them. Giant dragon.
Obviously, getting to rip and roar, recharge every single turn was awesome. I definitely enjoyed that. But my personal highlight was after it was 2 episode span, but it's one of my favorite lines from the podcast. He says, I've been a lot of places and I've learned a lot of things. Yeah, Kappa Kafanu. And I wrote down in my notebook, I was like, this is my comeback. And I wrote it down, and then it wasn't my turn, and then the episode ended, and we came back, and I was like, I still got this. This is going to be hilarious. Which was, I know you've been a lot of places, learned a lot of things, but I'll teach you one more thing. Never fuck with the Derringer. And that call and response was my favorite part of the fight.
I like that I did fireball successfully a couple times.
Yeah,
used it right.
You should fireball the shit out of
Stood
things,
a character sheet for 20 minutes and did it. I really wanted the pet thing I threw out to be able to touch. Like, that would have been for me a victory, to get the little pet thing to be able to touch the stone. Like, he didn't see it coming, and like this furry creature. Because all you guys have pets all the time, and I just wanted my pet to be, feel important once, and he just didn't get that opportunity. Maybe next time. yeah. See you tomorrow.
Bye, Dad. It's a sheep.
Any highlights for you, Dwayne, during the battle?
Yeah, I think there's nothing more heartbreaking and satisfying for the Grand Magus to be charging up. Essentially the, like, fuck it, if I'm going, you're going with me kind of move, only to get, like, shut the fuck down in the last few moments.
The rewind.
That was so
Counter
good.
spell. Ooh, barely made it that one too. I think it was like 1+1 over that.
I think
DC?
you were 1 over the DC.
You were 1 over the DC, yep.
I think it's a 16. You needed a 16. You got a 17.
Sounds
The
right.
flavor for that was so tasty too, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for the Grand Magus to he's seeing his revenge come. This whole thing's activated. He knows what's gonna happen, and then just starts going backwards and just being like, "Oh, nerds! What's that? A dragon? Oh, phooey!"
And I can't leave you out, Ginge, since you were there, being able to listen to the whole thing. Is there any spot that whether just from a creative listener point or from being the one trying to engineer the audio around it, that stood out for you?
Yeah, I definitely like the story beats that have been covered so far. I like Darlene with her face in the dirt, and I really like the Magus getting ready to just blow the whole place out to hell, and then using a great mechanic that one of the characters has to reverse that and take care of it. But I also really like, and I got to do this twice. One was for the Aya fight, and one was for the Magus fight, where I got to give some credit to Shane here, because he screams his ass off into his microphone, and it created this it actually connected the dots artistically of a character experiencing great joy after overcoming a really nasty obstacle, and it was an opportunity to just change the tone. So this is one of those moments where I get to jump in and just pivot the tone of the show from something that was dark or tense, and then suddenly it just turns into something beautiful, and now they're doing laps on Gorp in the sky, and they're celebrating and stuff like that. I live for those dynamic changes in the story beats of the show, and I think it turned out really well especially in the Magus battle.
I think I actually know the moment you're talking about, the when he shouts and does the victory laps, because you could feel that tone shift.
Whoa!
Yeah, and I mean, the amount of times that I have to run a de-clipper on that man's microphone is impressive. But what it really does, though, is it ends up taking that big blast of audio that he's provided and condensing it into this this fat tunnel of audio that fills up the whole audio spectrum, and you can just hear the guttural excitement, and it's honestly, it's a good performance. I like it.
I have a girthy audio sound wave that fills up bars from your highs to your lows.
That's the greatest compliment you've ever been given by anyone.
No better way to describe it.
It's great. In my audio community, we often call those when there's no dynamics in the audio and it's kind of just end to end big fat audio. We call that a fat sausage. So I think he's not too far from that.
Oh my god.
Nobody likes to know how the sausage gets made, but damn,
scream into oblivion. That's how
you really gotta fucking disregard your wife sleeping in the other room.
Does this mean that Ginge on the regular is looking at Shane's fat sausages?
Yes.
Oh, I think pretty consistent. I think week to week.
Touching it up a little bit on the way, too.
Do you ever have to shorten it? Because it's too long?
No, thin it out.
No,
Oh, okay.
I always have
the thing about it is,
make it a little bigger than it may appear on the surface.
You can squash it down, but that just makes it denser.
Gross.
Oh my god.
He can't help here.
Avon, what's your funny joke about that?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm leaving it. I respect my co-host.
Oh,
She
so
couldn't
it's
even
almost
make
like
that
your
out.
audio is
She
left.
couldn't even say the words respect and co-host in the same sentence without having a stroke. Okay,
So Avon, by not making a comment, you're leaving a large gap in your audio and their waveform. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it there, and it's gonna be fine, and it can be filled in, no problem.
Gross.
Now everybody got some innuendo.
You're welcome.
Got there.
And so we got our victory, right? And we got a nice wrapped up with a bow kind of ending for each of you guys. Started with Osiris taking up the Derringer mantle, Drake and Gwarp becoming god hunters, I guess, interdimensional god hunters.
Very cool.
And then we get our final closing story with the now Destiny Derringer, as Darling takes on a few new nicknames. And I obviously I got to get a little bit into your minds. So, Devin, starting with you, like, how did you feel about that Osiris wrap up, and how satisfied are you with like that being the close of his story, and is there anything more you wanted for him?
With all my if we had carried on the story a little bit more, I feel like he would have become the new Declan in a way. Like, he's going to carry that on, and he probably feels a void from. And I think what we didn't get into is like him seeing Paul Barrow. I wasn't able to really like him having him like attacking Paul Barrow. Like, probably felt away, but I wasn't able to really to get. We were in the heat of battle, right? It was a big thing going on. So I took the approach of he knows that this isn't real. He's probably heard. We're not in the world.
Yeah, they weren't mirrors, right? They were just images. Like, you could tell, but they were like vestiges.
So I think he got a good enough story. If it's open-ended enough that obviously he's waiting for something. He has the book there because he anticipates Declan's going to show up. He always does, and so I'll hold things down here until he does get back.
Shane, Drake, interdimensional god hunter.
Yeah, that's what it says on the T-shirt, man.
Can we get like an anime for that? I mean, it seems like it's written itself.
How I was reborn as an IGH. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think that it's cool. I don't know. I didn't necessarily see Drake and Gwarp being out in the multiverse. I kind of maybe thought they were going to go home to Goarahn, but I don't know what they were going to do there. Their whole life's been dedicated to these dragons things, and once they've seen them and touched them and ate them enough, it kind of feels like there's no going back. So that makes sense to me. Drake and Gwarp. Drake as a character is only as real as his relationship to Gwarp. That was his kind of tether, that was his touchstone. As long as they're together, they're both going to be okay.
Okay. And then of course Avon, like your ending, and then we got that secret sneaky little letter writing bit at the end too. That was you just had to be like one last tug at the heartstrings moment.
Yeah, well, when we finished up, I like right after I went to Dwayne. I was like, "Hey, I have an idea. Can I write? Like, we started on a letter. Can we end on a letter?" And I went to Dwayne and I gave him a little story bit, and he's like, "Yeah, put it in. Don't tell anybody."
Yup. It was a great idea. I was like, take it, run with it, do it, kill it. It was amazing.
It was. But yeah, obviously, she alludes to Castiel given her nickname, so obviously they're still interacting together, and she's recruited some new Time Lords. Is she running the show?
You gotta get rid of that T.
Castiel.
You keep putting the T in there.
I feel you.
Yeah, that was part of like my discussion with Dwayne, like what we saw for the ending kind of thing, like what's she going to go into. I was like, well, she's going to pick up the Time Lord mantle, and just kind of like discussing it, Castiel wanting her to like go out and find the other Time Lords. So that got me buzzing with the ideas, and we have the corridors that links all the campaigns here and there, so I just set up with a system in place because, well, if she's going to make it, then she's going to make it, and because the handles or reins are being sent over my direction, I was like, well, I get to play with it some more for C5.
Okay. And then this last one I'm going to throw actually both at you, Dwayne, and Ginge, since we got at least my initial thought, right, was when Castiel first showed up that we were kind of having a fun adding some characters in moments, I don't think anybody at the time had anticipated that Cassiel was going to take on like this major arc role. Was that initially like anything that you and Dwayne had talked about for the character, or did that just evolve a whole life of its own? And
It definitely wasn't my creation. I think I remember. I don't know if it was before or after an episode or during an episode, but I remember a moment where a light bulb went off in Dwayne's head, and he said, like, "I got it. I know what to do with your boy." And he just kind of like quietly went to pen and paper, and like that must have been where you knew what you were going to do with him.
Yeah, it was around there because Shane, I stole Shane's dragons, obviously, and really just kind of put them higher up on a pedestal. But one of Shane's things was like, you know, it'd be cool if like in Goarahn, when the gods, the dragons weren't like really present, there's like these stones, these font of power, and you just happen to put your character in a stone. And I was like, really know what we can do with that. So.
Okay. And then the one other thing I did want to kind of circle back as far as like wrapping up the things we hadn't talked about yet for C4 was you guys also gave us that delicious little treat that was, I believe it was episode 75, Where the Heroes Lay, where instead of getting a full episode, we get this beautiful series of stories of interactions between different characters. You know, we get Shane reading us the actual interaction between the Grand Magus and Sapphire. Abon gives us a Alaria and an Obix going through the corridors and a few other moments. We see Kristoff and Avia, Rowan, and then Declan versus the Grand Magus in a battle as well. Did you guys, Dwayne, was that mostly written by you? Was this like a collaboration, or how did that all, just, yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because it's been a minute. I'm pretty sure
it was all Dwayne.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
It was
I
all
wrote all
Dwayne,
that.
yeah.
100% Dwayne.
Yes.
We read
Quit being
scripts
modest.
provided for us.
He's like, can you guys remind
I
me
honestly,
who did
because
what?
we collaborate together so much, I couldn't remember, truthfully.
It's true.
And I didn't want to be like, well, let me tell. And Devin and Shane be like, you motherfucker. No, I wrote them all.
Said that.
And I really
it was
looked
good.
for
They were
things that would touch the heart. Like, and we had characters that, when I wrote this, I had no idea that Goarahn was coming back, right? So I had to get out a couple people that, like, I'm like, hold on, we gotta let people know.
These are the life rafts.
Yeah, but they changed the game, which is exactly what they do. So it was good.
Can I just say that the team has a really good way of delivering these types of little story bits. I think the way that all of you read it and played your characters and played your parts was really, really, really fantastic. And it was hard for me not to be inspired during that particular episode, which is usually what kicks me into, like, that's why I went and scored the whole thing, because I'm like, this is a different thing. This is special. It's not like just, are we in combat? Are we in town? Are we in a laboratory? Are we whatever? I think you guys do really good in those storytelling moments.
So I want to pat myself on the back real quick, and here's why. I don't think I did a good job of reading like Rowan's voice. I did an okay job. I think I wrote Rowan's voice well. Like, that was 100% how Alex would have done it.
No, you genuinely nailed it. You got into his head, and that's
which is creepy.
Out.
I was
That's
very
scary.
proud of that one. Like, of all the ones, I was like, I got it. He would 100% make fun of Wynn and his good berries. Like, and that's something Alex would do. Is just pick a weird fucking insult instead of going straight for the throat. It was great.
I was going to say, the When's Good Berries definitely broke me when I was listening. That was that, and I commented on it in the Discord too, but when Abon was doing, Obix and all of her split, emotions, and there's a little background chatter going on where somebody's like, we should find a door like that has like a nice hot spring, and then another's no one ever wants to go there.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Dwayne had put that one in as the beach, and I went no and made an executive decision right there.
It was wonderfully done.
She was very adamant about the hot spring bit being in there. She
It was
kept talking to
perfect.
me about it.
It was perfect.
Very funny.
Was there any other, like, I guess for the rest of you guys, since it was something that was more that you guys were reading, that was given to you, was there anything that you drew from it, or that you guys have curiosities about, or?
I have theories. They have made their own world where a lot of them are their own gods, or of something of some matter of really cool. And Dwayne has set that up for a future campaign, and I am so curious.
So I feel that too, especially with the I think we got 2 or 3 references to a world yet to be written in there, and it was like goosebumps, kind of like, oh, what are you dangling in front of us? I'm gonna wait 4 more years to find out.
No, I knew exactly what Dwayne was doing, and I won't be emotionally manipulated in that way.
Why you gotta lie to everybody?
I'm saying the truth, man.
Okay.
I'm too wise for your tricks.
Okay. I believe you.
So you felt no sort of way about Kristoff and Avia making it out of Goarahn before it was destroyed?
Man, I was the one who was already planning on fixing Goarahn. Drake's over here living the fucking truth. He's over here making stuff happen.
But now a world. Anyways, I will say this because we didn't touch on it, but I'm gonna have to at least feed it. If you think about the idea of Cassiel appointing a Time Lord to then go and recruit other Time Lords, we followed the Grand Magus as the big bad, right? So why amass an army? I'll just leave that there for everybody.
For all the boys that need to be kissed.
Yeah, they need their smooch rebates.
There it is.
Yeah, that's what they got to do. They got to go through every time time travel happened and people lost years of smooches. They got to go through and correct the wrongs, find the appointed smoochie, and assure the rebate is acquired. Or else the whole of time and space falls to ribbons.
And Ginge, since we have you here and it's a special treat, I do have I don't want to shift focus away from everybody else, but I do have to take advantage of it because I know lots of people want to pick your brains about things. So just out of curiosity, I think we all assume that it is a lot of work, but can you paint us a picture for what's involved, as far as how much time and effort, where you find your inspirations for when you get to these moments, what goes through the Audiomancer's head?
Well, the realistic version of this is I sit down to do my edits on Sunday because I'm not a procrastinator, and
true member of the Lawful Stupid crew is what he meant to say.
Yeah, exactly. But I sit down to do it. I get all the files, and then I start to look through them, and I'll get through the recap of the last episode and just some normal service things that I just have to do to prep for the episode. And then I start to listen to the episode, and again, like I said earlier, I don't have high engagement with the story. I'm really I'm mostly a listener like everybody else that listens to the podcast. I do occasionally have like when I was working on Cassiel, I was working with Dwayne and we were talking about Cassiel and stuff like that, and if I'm confused about something, I'll reach out and say, hey Dwayne, what do you want this mood to be like? But for the most part, I just experience it like a listener. And normally I've got a lot of really smart tools that help me get through these things. I've got all of my music is in these like loopable regions that have names on them. So it's like, I'm in an inn, I'm in a shop, it's nighttime, we're at the campfire. I can, for any given moment in time, I can just drag this loop and it'll just play music automatically. I don't even have to worry about that anymore. But for these last couple of episodes for Lawful Stupid, or what was it called? It's Where the Heroes Lay?
Yeah, where the heroes lay. Yeah.
That episode in particular, it does happen occasionally where I just get struck with inspiration during the edit. And that's what happened when I was hearing them read those dialogues. And I was like, man, this is a great storytelling moment. And I want to touch it up. I want to like accent it and I want to push it higher than it is. And so I can't just loop my music on top of it. I can't just, cram all this stuff together. And it probably would be okay, but it's not the way I like to do it. So instead, what I end up doing is I will then just listen to the episode. I mark it up. I put markers in my music program that says like, key moment here. This needs to be sad. This needs to be happy. This needs to change. Dwayne likes to do this. And then your view shifts thing, right? Like I can talk about transitions and stuff. I'll mark the whole episode up. And that way I can now go back through it and jump around to those key points without needing to re-listen to it. I already know the important things that are happening in the episode. And then from there, it's just a matter of like pulling out my keyboard, playing with keys, figuring out what mood I like. And especially for Campaign 4, I love themes. I love them maybe a little too much. I really enjoy themes that just sneak into songs and stuff like that. It's a blessing and a curse, because like you'll hear Wen's theme from Campaign 1 in Campaign 4 even when he's nowhere to be found, because I need that music to fill in the background space, but now it's tied to Wen forever. But we have a good like theme for Campaign 4, and it's very dynamic, and it can be really exciting. It can also be really melodramatic, and so during that episode it was just really nice to play with some of those tones that the players are dishing out by the parts that they're reading, and then just lightly drizzle that theme on it whenever things were getting a little too emotional or a little too exciting. And so for me, that's just kind of the process, and you just work on it until it all flows together, and that's the end of it.
When I wrote the Rowan piece, I was like, this is for Ginge. I'm going to make him do this type of music and this type of music and this type of music. I was like, don't fail me, don't fail me.
Well, I wanted to piggyback, and I wanted to say something similar. When I was doing Campaign 2, which I love the music for Campaign 2, I felt all the time I was trying to set a tone, and that every time I ever laid any sort, even the barest breadcrumb trail of like, oh, this is where I want to go tonally, Ginge would pick it up and run with it 100 times faster and 100 times cooler than I thought he could, and it just felt like a series, like over and over again, of like silent high fives between us, like yes, and I've never talked about that even with Ginge privately. Like that was really cool. It's really amazing how Ginge can listen into a story, hear the intent, or hear the direction in our voices or in our cadence or whatever it is that we're doing, and then be able to translate that so beautifully and instantly to the sound that would best accompany it. It's
Ginge
truly remarkable.
Turns emotions into music, and that's pretty fucking cool.
Turns music into emotions.
That's pure audiomancy.
That's the goal. That's the goal. I will say, Dwayne, Rowan's part during that episode was both stressful and exciting because of what you said. You reminded me about it. I had forgotten what happened, because everybody else had these great, like, you could just lather the theming under it and just slow burn it and fade things in, and it's perfectly fine. But no, that one was very much like, he's playing this song now, and now he's playing this song, and now he wants to feel like a king.
But that's Rowan, right? It makes sense that his
character.
Is all over the
totally
place.
Right.
Yep.
And that was me going like, okay, I've filled in the whole part of this episode, and I have one blank in the whole thing that I just don't know how to fill in yet. And just playing with sort of, I got like a weird lute instrument out in my software and started just playing with plucking or whatever. And I just decided to keep it a little cheesy, and I think it worked out. And of course, it's like you let all that fade out, you let all that wash out, and kind of when he's like walking through the door, going like, "Hey, maybe they need a king." At the end of it echoes, and then I just crossfade back in the highly emotional, dramatic stuff for the ending of it. But I did think that was a fun challenge. Like, half of the thing that I like about this editing style, like what Shane was saying and what Dwayne is saying, is I really enjoyed the challenge, actually, of being presented emotions. Like, to me, it makes me feel really happy when I can actually make somebody feel an emotion that I don't use a word to invocate.
Yeah.
And if somebody else's word, that's fine. But if I can make them feel sad, somebody said in the chat they were crying at Avon's part at the end. And I know how hard that was, because even while I was editing, I kept crying the whole time. And that's how I know that, it's invoking emotion. It's really selling it. It's hitting home. I love that challenge. It's my favorite.
It's a hard time for me not to like hear shit like that and be like, man, like, could you imagine if campaign 1 was done by Ginge? Can you imagine like the music for when springs in, the music around the hot springs, like the moment between Kristoff and his dad? Like, I'm just like, the fuck this, like, damn, that would have been good.
Hot Springs would be excellent, like,
Hotter
slice of life RPG music, just silly and kooky. But I mean, the end of campaign 1 is still some of my favorite music. And like, I didn't know you guys as well as I do now, obviously, but like, Kristoff's story really captivated me. And it's another one of those moments where I think you can hear it just in the music alone and in the episode composure. Because I came in at the end, I wasn't there the whole time. But when we started getting to the dramatic ending of campaign 1, and Kristoff was making these really bold decisions that were emotionally difficult, you could hear whenever I got that spark, and I just started flying with it. And the same with Atlas and Bellamere. I think some of my favorite moments at the end of that. So keep it coming. I love the inspiration. And if you know that if you give a good performance, or if you act like a complete moron, either one of those, they will inspire me, and I will add music to it.
It is what's stupid.
What's the one from the end there of campaign when he goes, "I'm going to do really bad at you, and you're going to tell me what it is." It's like, pling plong, pling 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 plong, pling plong, and then eventually strings come in.
Yeah. That one usually gets a response out of you guys.
That one makes me weep, dude.
I'll find the name. Give me a second.
I know exactly
I think I know
the one you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about?
It took my brain a second
pling,
to like
pling,
hear
pling,
it.
Pling, pling,
and I was like, oh, I fucking know it. I could tell you it's
a Song of the Heart.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a Song of the Heart.
I think that sounds right.
It's kind of this subtle plucking thing, and then it eventually brings in like cellos and strings.
Yeah, when those strings come in, they get me.
Yeah. Dissonance, man. If you want to make someone feel like really heightened emotions, throw some dissonance in there.
I think the one for me was always the song right before like what the airship was showing up. That just kind of like whistly melody that it was.
Never.
That was.
The one. Dwayne actually made like a whistle sound.
No, he's talking about the airship.
Oh.
No, the whistle sound was a creepy echo that Ginge just like magnified. It was awesome.
Oh, that's right.
That was
the
Nightmare Fuel, though. I hated when you did that.
It was good.
The chain.
But the airship he was talking about, if it's the one, I think it's the one where we're at the like secret hideout, and then there's a bunch of fucking airships that are coming our direction, and that music there, I was like, oh, damn.
I mean, there's a lot of moments actually that I could probably gush over.
Yeah, we could gush about Ginge forever.
Right? I do want to take us into our Discord questions because that is my duty to make sure that
He's
their
a duty.
voices are brought here.
That's so good.
Duty. So this comes from Epic Skeleton. Do you guys design your worlds around your campaign, or do you design a campaign that's going to be set in your world? And Dwayne, being that you were the most recent DM, I'll let you take that one first.
I don't think I've ever been shy about what I do and how I create it, and so to make sure I answer your question succinctly, I will say I build a world and then they build a campaign inside of it. Like, I give them the hooks. I mean, Atlas being a god was not planned from the day one. Cassiel, you heard, not planned from day one. The Grand Magus being the big bad of the second season was not planned from day one. So no, it's the characters, the players make the stories. I just give them a stage to act on.
I mean, yeah, I think actually, and this might be a lost behind the curtain comment from for those of us that were, in the box seats before the start of C4, but I think initially you had pitched it more as like a Monster Hunter style campaign, and we definitely got those vibes out of the gates, but I guess kind of to stack onto their question with that answer, at what point did you find yourself having to make that like big pivot to where we got to?
No, that's a really great question, actually. I hadn't really thought about that until you asked. It was about the time that Gus rolled a really strong perception check and spotted the Geospawn, and was then fucking ridiculously smart, used a memory to be able to talk to them, which then, like, I didn't really have the Geospawn there to be this big anchor point as much as it like something else in the wild that's kind of dangerous and out there. But then the players do what the players do, and now I'm telling a different story, less about monster hunters and the new horizon and more about like civilization touching this organization and this other civilization that has been like guarding something for this long time. And so what I definitely did not want to end up with is like the colonizing vibe. So I try really hard to avoid that. And even when Geospawn's capital went down, it went down to other Geospawn, which was very important for me.
Yeah, I feel that. And Shane, we'll just go in order of the campaigns run. Same question to you. Is it a world first and a campaign second, or do you have an idea for a campaign and you build the world to it?
No, I definitely knew which campaign I wanted to run before I had the world built. I kind of built the world up around this. Like, I knew I had the idea of the mainland and it being separated, and kind of this flooded world with very little land, which I knew was going to be monopolized by the Alliance. But that was the bones of it, and then everything else kind of came up afterwards. I remember Devin was pestering me for a map in a way that made me very uncomfortable because I wanted to have the ability to fill that in as need be. But
I get results.
I will tell you,
yeah.
I've never seen Shane more like in tune, intertwined, almost as one with the character as he was with the Jackal. I fucking talk about like chills when he fucking was doing some of that shit. I'm like, you motherfucker, I hate everything about this. God damn you, but you're doing it so well.
Yeah, I don't.
Reason why Dwayne didn't bring the Jackal back is because he just didn't know. He's like, I can't bring that.
Well, they would lose. Okay.
There's a certain energy that I won't expand on too much because it's a similar energy that I have. So like I mentioned to you, I was like, I'm ready. I got the next campaign. I went back and I thought about it. I was like, I don't actually have my next campaign planned. I have my next big bad evil guy down to a fucking T. He's in my heart. I love this person so much. But I don't have a campaign or a world built around it yet, so I guess I got time still.
Devin, how about you? I know we made a big deal. It was your first real go around it at taking up the DM mantle. How did you proceed with that process?
Yeah, dude. So I built for like an entire year before we were doing, because I was just so worried, because the guys do so good, and so I just wanted to shine as well. And really, I just knew the things that I love about episodes is I tried to always end on a like cliffhanger every single episode. Mine were almost episodic. Like everything we did, it was like self-contained in a way. I tried to do that, so we're always getting to it. I would say I probably kind of railroaded them a whole lot. That's just how because that's what I was comfortable with. But I tried to throw in like cool things like the train fight scene, giving a lot of like leeway with like, hey, I have this ability, I want to do this like really cool thing. Well, let's try it, but not get too crazy. So I feel like mine was just kind of like, it's kind of everywhere, sporadic, because I was trying to hang on, but keep their characters involved in every way, connecting all the spider webs I could. And I love bringing back old stuff. So like I was pestering Dwayne about, can I use your stuff from C1, some characters? Shane, can you give me something from C2? Because I think I just want to always be doing that in stories, and so that's where mine came from.
I mean, I think there was a lot of excitement when we first saw that was a possibility, even, right? That we could patchwork the multiverse of Lawful Stupid together. I feel like there's a lot of applause in the Discord when that first showed up, and we were like, "Oh crap! Did he just say Findle? Was that Ilaria? What?"
You're welcome.
Avon, you're in very short order going to debut us with campaign 5. So not to give away too much, but yeah, world design, was it a world first and a campaign second, or an idea for a campaign first?
Well, it started off as character first, and then where do those characters live, and start building the world around them. And then the campaign idea kind of came in after that, but it was just kind of like a lot of asking myself, like, okay, if these guys are here and they're doing this in the world, like, so what do I give the players to do in the world? Which I'm trying to take it as a whole sandbox kind of approach, where there's things everywhere to do, and there's going to be things running on in the background, and if they don't touch it, then sure, they don't touch it, but it might come back later as a different thing, like how progress would happen to that thing.
I love that.
I like that take.
So we'll see how it goes, but they might change the campaign. I have no idea. Like, I do know there are some things gonna happen in the background.
We know.
They know. But like, there might be things they can ignore, and then things they can't ignore as well.
The same goes for the DM. Yeah, the revolution's coming.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Our next question comes from Snug Gaming. This is specifically at Devin, so hopefully he's prepared himself. What's your beef with Tim? And, why was it so bad that you had to put him in every commercial ad for all of C4?
Well, as I've already stated, and I didn't do any research, I don't remember, and I'm sorry, Tim, if you're listening to this, what ad we did for you. I didn't go back and listen.
Okay.
If anyone knows what... Because I skip over the ads.
There was an ad. It was for Roleplay Revolution, I'm pretty sure. But basically, it's a scheduling conflict, and you're like, dang it, Tim. Tim couldn't make it.
Tibby.
Tim is the equivalent of Karen to me in names. I just pulled it when I was doing it. And so that became it.
So I was curious about that when you guys get those ad spots. Is it like mostly a copy that you read, or do they give you guys like, hey, just talk about our services and do whatever you want to like, was that a Devin original?
That was a Devin original. I have highlights that I need to hit, but it's Devin original.
I don't think it came to my attention until the last episode of Campaign 4 was being edited. But I hit Ginger up. I was like, "Hey, can we not put this ad? Can we
You did it
stop
all the way to
putting
the
this ad
last episode?
It felt. By the way, that felt really strange to just not do it in the last episode. I was like, I felt like I should have just done it.
Go back.
It was really funny.
We've been running
though.
this ad for a while. They're not paying us. Like, we should stop interrupting the middle of the episode.
They got
every
some
time.
like serious ROI on that one. You know what I mean?
Because I wasn't listening. I'll be honest. I don't listen to the podcast a super lot until we get into like big cool moments like the end when I want to listen, and then I go back and listen. And I'm like, wait a second, is this in every episode?
Well, so here's the thing I forgot that I'm just putting out there. We have a subscription thing set up with them, so actually, anytime someone would use their link and pay, we would get money. So we may have some money sitting out there somewhere.
Nice. You gotta look. y'all been clicking that link? Y'all been doing some roleplay revolution?
Hey, just put that ad back in this episode, please.
So, poor Timmy needs your help. You gotta click that link.
You gotta do it.
All right. We also have questions from. I'm gonna go with Hoodlum Kira, but I'm sure there's different ways that we could pronounce that.
Sounds right to me.
That's how I read it.
Sweet. Didn't murder the name. Devin, why do you feel like Osiris, or excuse me, why does he feel like Osiris is some kind of version of Sokka in the desert when he's putting all sorts of questionable substances in his mouth? He also references that he felt like, or maybe it was partially drawn from a character from one of the Mistborn books. Is there any tie to that inspiration? Is he totally off the vibe? I mean, we know you're an Avatar guy.
Yeah, I feel like Hoodlum is just throwing out buzzwords for things he knows I love, so that I will be best friends with him, and that is true. We are. But no, I just, in my head, an archaeologist is just, I think I've maybe seen something where they like, that's a thing where archaeologists are really good. They taste the rocks and they know the difference in the sediments or whatever it is. And so I was like, that's why I did it.
I thought it was a fun character, quirk, right?
Better than being afraid of blood.
It was actually a very subtle Hot Springs reference. He was constantly putting, rocks.
Always trying to bring Hot Springs back.
Get your rocks off.
Nothing ever tastes the same after the hot springs.
After that first salty taste, I've been trying to find it. I'm chasing it.
This one also, but for Shane, what do you think Gus's last meal was before Goarahn was abruptly destroyed?
What time of day was Goarahn destroyed?
I was going to say May.
This is the bigger question. Did you say May?
Yeah. You know the world's ending.
May.
You know the world's ending. What are you doing?
Oh, he's talking about your wife.
Oh my gosh.
Not
the
I
month.
see. I got you.
Yeah,
I was
not the month.
like, that's not an answer to that question. Got it.
Oh, it was.
I don't know, man. Breakfast burritos.
Good choice.
He also would like to know, Dwayne, since Drake did call out Kristoff's name, was he ever going to show up, like maybe a year later or so? Or
Listen. Next question.
I still think you should have gave that to me. Next question.
That would have been sweet. That would have been a very cool cameo. Yeah.
the careful what you wish for moment and has him in blue mist show up.
Kristoff pops in. Why are you guys wasting my time? Murks everyone. Just
Yeah.
like everyone. Shows back up. Hey, Abby, sorry, girl. Like, don't worry about these dragon bits on my shoulder.
Avon, how do you feel that Darling would mourn the family members she had lost? And also, does she consider Tuk Tuk to be family?
I think her way of mourning would probably just try to figure out what stories they like the most and just tell those, or if she knew of any stories of them, speak on that matter. And I think at some point Tuk Tuk would have been family at least in her brain, just because she did make a sacrifice for him. And like the Derringers picked up everyone, right? And then her whole caravan of, I think it was Caravan Style or something, Asylum Style, I think.
Something like that.
And so like her picking up found family is not weird to her. So yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Also, and I think this pops up in a couple places, and I think we've poked at you a lot about it already, Devin, but
Oh god, here we go.
they're asking, so I got...
Atlas was not running away from the fight. Listen, he was just trying to stop things. And again,
Hey,
Osiris
don't
was
worry.
just trying to calm things
Don't
down.
worry. That comes full circle in campaign 5. He's already set the groundwork.
He's just running away.
Not fighting
Okay, go ahead with
specifically.
the real question now.
No, but what was it like to cycle through so many different PCs in just the single campaign?
You know, I had to be taught in campaign 2 to let go of the things you love in a very hard way. And so,
Same.
but seriously, Shane taught me, and I did a bad job in campaign 3 because I wanted their characters to live, but like D&D is about storytelling, and sometimes the characters do die. If you're
Yeah, the
playing them
dice
to the
tell a
best of your
story
ability,
too.
that happens. That's great. I didn't want to tell that story in campaign 3, but in campaign 2 it was good. In campaign 4, I just wanted to lend myself as Devin to Dwayne's story, and so my characters, while they weren't there like extremely long times, I tried to play them as best as I could for that small snapshot of time that they were available to me. Paul Barrow was my favorite, I think, especially just because of where his story went. I connected with him the most, and he was a barbarian, so there's that.
That's why I liked him the most. He was really sad when he died. He's
Yeah.
like, I can't make another barbarian in the same campaign. Just one per campaign, okay?
Per camp.
One barbarian per campaign.
You know, it's an unwritten law. You can't make a character the same like class of the one that just died.
If you came in with a different subclass, I'd squint at you, but I'd allow it.
I'm a barbarian wizard. Here we go.
Multi-class. a
Hey,
different
wild
subclass,
magic
different
barbarian
One level
is
of
sick,
wizard.
though.
It's true. It's anything wild magic's pretty fun.
Agreed.
That actually does segue to another question that we had from Epic Skeleton, though, which is, you know, as PCs for each of you, right? Like, how do you handle it when you have characters die, and, you know, are you ever hit with like a loss of motivation? Like, I don't even know if I want to keep going if this character is going to die.
I think a really good example for me is because I try to always, if there's a death, it should serve the narrative. And maybe it's not, maybe death isn't always the end, wink. But I always try to have if a character dies, I want to serve the narrative. So I think the best example for me would be when Lucian died. And in that setting, like Devin had just mentioned, he didn't necessarily want to tell a story in which the heroes died. So we kind of worked together and found a middle ground where kind of Lucian died and Fume was born. Kind of two personas of one person, and that was really interesting. I think it was able to serve the story. So that's what I'm looking for.
I will tell you, that's something I think Shane and I both like. I don't even know if we've ever really like talked about that, but that's something like Shane said a really good example of in campaign 2. And so I very much felt the same way. Like when Kato died, that told a story, right? Like not only did you're losing the first one, now you have to face the actual decisions of that. And then Paul Barrow makes this big sacrifice. Like, yeah, you're gonna die. It should serve something. I mean,
It should never
Yeah.
just feel like you've like, oh, I fudged a roll, now I'm dead. Like, that sucks. That's not good
and even
for
if that
anybody.
happens, there's a way to expound on that. Like
There's
with
a way to
Kato,
make it happen,
right?
yeah.
Like he died to rolls, but then we made that so much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I haven't lost a character, but I play my characters to the point where like they
You didn't
want
play in
to
campaign
live.
too. You weren't there.
I didn't play in
You don't
campaign 2,
fucking
no.
know what we've been through.
Well,
No,
the other
but
thing
look,
is
it's you guys.
during a rule 0, Avon will say, "Hey, I would prefer my character not to die," and that's
I'd kill it.
totally. If people respect that, and there are ways to tell the story without that, being a huge factor. So I think it comes down to an individual preference.
Yeah, like I prefer them not to die because most of the times, like, there's a story I want to tell with them, and then there's that time where I was like, I don't feel like I'm done. There are times where it's gotten close, but there's always been a way to bounce back from it, or at least figure out how to bounce from
Like a
it.
tramp stamp.
Yeah, like a tramp stamp.
Was
Hey,
it a
you gave us a
tramp
tool.
stamp? It's like a calf tattoo.
No, tramp
It
stamp.
was a tramp stamp. We all made a lot of jokes about it, but we all agreed it was a tramp stamp. It's part
But,
of
like,
the cost.
as long as there's a story to it, and it doesn't seem like too far out there, right? Like, Dwayne gave us the storytelling thing of having the Daddy Derringer memories to, like, help us out in moments of need or XYZ thing. No, I haven't faced a character death, but I figure if I had to go through it and they were gone, and then I would just play the next character to the best of my abilities to, again, work with the party and do the mission that they're trying to go on. Like, whatever story we're trying to tell.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, campaign 6 is Shane again. And let's just say we do hold a meeting for those who have been through it. It's on Saturdays.
I'm gonna get you.
Oh, it's my favorite thing.
Drawn in the sand. All right, we've got some questions from Tasty Pasty. I'm gonna switch this one up instead of me reading it to see maybe a little challenge test. Which one of you guys thinks that you can name the most of his titles if we were to talk about Greyland once again?
Oh, God.
Hey now.
Friend. The Great.
The Great does count.
I want to know if Dwayne can do it. He's looking right now.
The
feverishly.
Smasher of Eastmarch.
If you're looking it up, that's cheating. Can you
The
do it,
Clincher
Ginge?
of Buttocks.
I would cheat. I got my SoundCloud open right now. I could just listen to the.
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. If you were saying, like, could I do the original? I could get damn near close. Could I do the expanded one from campaign 4? No, not even close.
If you do the original, you will have named more than me, which is 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Clincher of Butts is
you have
definitely in
like get the Gindor one, which I can't remember what it is. The Savior of Ankh.
I usually
they know him
fast
as
forward during
friend.
that part.
You fucker.
It's a reason why God made us
Lover
skip
was
15
in it
seconds,
too.
buddy.
Lover was in it. Yeah.
Lover was in it. Yep.
I can pull it
Lover
up.
of
but,
fine wines.
it wasn't that.
Lover of large women.
Large women.
Large women.
Pirate Killer.
The expanded one had Pathfinder Extraordinaire with the golden hair.
Yeah.
I actually like that one.
Tell us
Yeah.
the title now, Zebra.
So what Tasty? So I don't have it in front of me. What Tasty?
I think Tasty's isn't real, is my guess.
is Greyland the Great, Guardian of Gendor, Savior of Ark, Master of Savagery, Champion of Chivalry, Liberator of Silence, Pirate Killer, Adventurer, Nobleman, Lover, Pathfinder Extraordinaire, known to the Arcane Ones only as the Grey.
So
That's what
that
Tasty's
is
got.
so that is the expanded one for sure, right? And that's not quite in the right order and stuff like that, but you touched on pretty much every single one. But the order's a little off. I mean, it's still fucking impressive.
That's a got there stamp of approval.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah. So to the heart of the question, what happened to him?
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I mean, So Graylin,
He Gandalfed and became the Grand Magus.
So-
Like he went from the gray to the blue.
you're actually not far off, Devin. So Graylin the Great came into campaign 1 as honestly a subtle nod to two things. One, Guildford, who the fucking Harry Potter character, right?
Gilderoy Lockhart.
Gilderoy Lockhart, right? So that was a nod to that. It was also a nod to an NPC that I knew I could get them to collectively hate if I just did that over and over and over again. But then campaign 2 came around and I kind of changed who he was. I mean, he was the Grand Magus in disguise. 100%. Like 100%. Which then
Well, and a funny thing about that, and I think we've talked about it, is before we started Lawful Stupid, we were playing this in-house game and even had a couple different people. But Dwayne introduced Grand Magus to us in that game, and it was really fun to have him. So then us as players, whenever he would mention Grand Magus, and like you guys would hear, oh, Grand Magus first time, we're thinking, oh, he's bringing him back from the game. And I honestly thought you would bring him back more. You didn't, which was like a good way for you to kind of reel it in and not overuse it like I would do. But yeah, just a little nugget of trivia there.
Now that it's come full circle, I can talk about it. I fucking hated the first time that Dwayne brought the Grand Magus back at the end of campaign 1. I was like, that's a reference to a homebrew game that nobody knows about. You didn't mention him any other time in the campaign. At the end, he's just like, what's up, bitches? I'm here. Bye. I was like, this sucks, dude. But
And I was
then, 6 years later, I was into it.
Inside joke success.
It was a very subtle inside nod to the people that helped us get to where we were, truthfully. Because without those first few homebrew games, we would have never gotten here. I will say the Grand Magus is way more level toned in the podcast, where like when we did the homebrew thing, it was very much, I'm the grandest of Maguses. Very like almost cartoony, silly.
Wasn't that also a Dota joke?
It was a Dota joke too. That's right.
Oh.
Fuck, what is that character? Rubric.
Wasn't there a character in
Rubric,
Dota called
yeah.
I'm the Grand Magus?
Yeah,
and he
his-
would say, I'm the grandest of
Yeah, so
Maguses when
he was.
moved.
It's Rubric from Dota 2, and one of his voice lines is, "I'm the grandest of Maguses," and so I just like riffed off of that and sat on it because it turned out to be pretty fun. And he in the podcast he doesn't really do that much. Like there's a couple times where he's like, "I'm the grandest of Maguses," but he doesn't really jump into that like cartoony vibe.
He's not Skeletor, I agree.
I think one of the more important questions that Tasty threw in here that I'd really like to know the answer to as well. Paul Barrow's ending. I mean that Kato got stolen away. I don't think Devin was prepared when that happened. But Paul, we got to have a real goodbye for, and we all kind of want to know was his visions in using the time cradle real at all? Was it just a coma dream?
Okay. I want to spoiler alert myself. Are you guys going to answer that question definitively? Because if you are, I want to take my headphones off. I think it's better not knowing.
I'm gonna answer
I
it,
understand that answer.
Anyone else on headphones off?
Nah.
I mean, I wanted it to come across that Paul Barrow. I mean, because your experiences in your head now, like Paul Barrow could feel heat in where he was, and he could pick up his child, and he could hug his wife, and he could feel the breeze. So yeah, in coma, but to him, he was living that life he didn't have
got
before.
everything he wanted.
Yeah, and so I wanted to, like I said, have that moment where he came back and he said something like, he wakes up to his wife and says, I had the craziest dream that I saw my brother and sister. And so all the things that like in the campaign that happened would have been a dream to him, and his life waking up with his wife was his real life. Like reversed.
It was Davin had just like the most wonderful idea that like he gave up his life for his siblings, but also like then he gets his happy ending to him. It was just And so
And
that's the
everyone died in a
last
plane
time
crash.
Christoph would ever fuck with Paul Barrow.
I don't know what was just said, but the answer is whether it was real or was real. Is it yes?
So we kind of touched on this, but I think we were focused on the end. So opening it more up holistically, Deli Ham Sandwich wants to know, what was the most meaningful moment for any of you guys throughout the C4 campaign?
I really, really, really enjoyed when Kayla guest starred on the podcast, and I got to play like that because that a big part of Gus is how much he loves May. So having her there as part of it, it really cemented his role as like a family man, a lover.
And it showed a really good dynamic. Like, obviously, you guys being husband and wife like helps, but like just the realism of like how you two guys play off each other really well, like in role playing. Even the chemistry outside of that, like, because I've obviously hung out with you guys outside, but like it was just, I could see it. I could see you guys like in lockstep, and that was just the coolest shit.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think.
I think mine is Avon's character. Your character held the whole. I mean, obviously you were kind of the glue for both sides of the campaign. I love anything time related, and so when you took that swing, I'm just gonna say I was kind of jealous that you did it, and I would go back and I would kill your character, and I would be the time person, and I would keep my character forever, but I didn't. But that was my favorite storyline for you to weave in all those places, and then to leave a little primer at the end of the season was really great.
I think every campaign secretly has a main character, and I definitely think Darling was the main character of campaign 4. Not just because he was there the whole time, which does help a lot, but just the way the story kind of hung off of Darling's character. There's a song that I had sent to Avon. I was like, oh, this is a good song for your character. It rapidly became like my unofficial campaign 4 theme song. Like I would like every time I hear that song now, I think about the whole campaign, and it's Darling was really cool and really, really awesome character.
You should mention that song by name so everybody can go listen to it.
Oh, it's called Silver Platters by...
That's right, you shared it with us before.
I don't remember.
I want to say it's like about like Les Paul, but that's the kind of guitar. It is
by Les Paul. That would be amazing.
While he's looking for that, Avon, what's your moment?
Well, I don't really have one in particular. I kind of just enjoyed the entire campaign. Like, you guys you gave me a bunch of warm feelings and be like, I really like Darling. She was really cool. So now I'm just like, man, you guys are real sweet.
You can talk about us as people too if you want. Like, do you want to pump
like,
me and Shane up that we're your favorite people? That'd be great.
My favorite moments of the campaign. It's just like I get to hang out with my friends and play D&D. I mean, like, every moment was a fun moment. It was all cool to play. Like, yeah, some things are stressful. Some things are like, yeah, we're jumping into darkness. This is fine. Like, it's fun. Like, as much as I kind of like sigh and whatever in the background, it's just for fun. But like, I don't know. I feel like all the moments were just neat, and seeing like everyone's character moments where they just kind of like turn a leaf or like they go and do the brave thing. I mean, makes me giggle every time Shane did a werewolf joke for Drake. Like,
those were good.
There's things everywhere. Yeah, I mean, poking at Devin for his maybe relationship with Daddy Derringer. I mean, also good
there's
time.
no maybe. Again, if you guys are going to talk about that and give a canonical answer, tell me to take my headphones off. Don't
give it to him.
Leave that one open. Come on now.
I'll never tell.
It's not open. It's confirmed they kiss.
They
You
did
heard it here
not.
first, folks.
He
They
does
are
have
in
an
a
apartment
relationship.
everywhere there's
They
a
love
Derringer
each
estate.
other.
We did. That
It's
was
a
canon.
separate living abode. It's not the same.
It's. I'm not saying anything about their bits touching. I didn't say a word about penetration. They love each other.
Yep. So,
Yeah, they do.
So for me, I have three. I have three that come to mind pretty quickly. One, there's nothing more satisfying than watching all three players' reactions as they drain the life of Goarahn. and I honestly was so at peace with shutting that door to Goarahn forever. Like, I was at peace because, like, I had told a bunch of good stories there. Like, you guys have helped build, like, this fucking rich narrative. So shutting the door almost just seemed poetic. And so the second moment is then when you guys reopen the door, right? And then I have to, like, rebuild that and, like, tell that story. And those were two wonderful things. And my last and most, and I think most favorite, because whether we talk about it or not, but the idea that in the ending, Declan Derringer steps foot in the world that the Grand Magus was trying so hard to save. Like, I was, like, real happy with that.
Jens, you've been super quiet. What was the big moment for you?
I'm a listener and a patient, so those things work against me sometimes. It's hard for me to say. I've been trying to think through it, trying to see where I land. I definitely like the Cato Gustum Paul Barrow side of the equation, and Darling's in the whole time, so I just generally enjoy Darling, especially as a person who grew up with 6 sisters and often was that glue in the middle of a bunch of crazy people who don't normally get along, but somehow through a mediator in the center they do. I relate a lot to that, actually. Which I don't think I've ever told you, Avon. But
no, you haven't. So I was like,
it's
never
definitely an interesting thing there for me. But I think honestly, I got really excited when the second batch of characters showed up and Osiris came along and Drake came along. I think I like Osiris's more comical side, which is very interesting to me, or entertaining, I should say, rather. And then for Drake is, he's also another relatable character to me because he's kind of like this overly optimistic, like he's so excited about dragons, and like he would ruin your life if you mentioned the word dragon near him. He would just have to like be around you to learn what you learn, and then at the end he's there with the biggest dragon of dragons and the victory in the battle and everything like that. I really enjoyed his journey, so I think without me being biased towards the end because it's so fresh in my memory, I think I really liked when we switched over to Drake and Osiris in the sort of second half of the podcast.
I did forget and have to quickly mention it because it was one of my favorite whole bits in the whole world, which was where Gus would constantly tell Paul Barrow that he was smaller.
Yeah.
I'm literally just thinking that.
I also was reminded about the time that Gus was a mouse. That was so fucking funny to me.
That's true.
Gus
that was
is
a good
mouse.
part.
I think about that a lot.
So Darling,
taking him to the pet store. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was a good
that
time.
moment is one of the funniest things I've heard in a while. It's just like no. Yeah, it's great sound.
Rocking that fairy tale princess bullshit sweater shirt. So
Nice.
I love it. Well, so I've also got one, I'm going to say final question from Pain and Main. This directed at you, Avon. How excited are you to be in the driver's seat for C5?
I am excited. Nervous because like coming off the coattails of all the other boys, and like I've been running a home game to like get myself back into the driver's seat because sometimes you play at bad tables and it gives you a scar. But like going after session 0 and talking it through, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to show the boys the world I've got. And have shown so far because we've been recording on the back end already for it, but it's fine. And it's just fun. I get to share a thing I love with my friends, and it's great.
So I'm gonna
we
hop
love it
on
already.
That. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna hop on that.
Yeah.
It's so far just like chef's kiss, but But also, I have to talk about this. We've been doing this podcast for 6+ years. We've had 3 different DMs, 4 different campaigns. Let me tell you, fucking Avon steps into this shit and is the most organized, thought through, like on time, on schedule. Like, you're making us all look like chumps, and I fucking love it.
And also, me, Shane, and Dwayne have never gotten to play together. So if you can live through this, you can live through anything.
That's
and
true. We haven't.
And we're having fun.
You get like a badge if you make it to the end.
I was about to say,
expect one.
I know my wife, and she has big shoes to fill in her mind, and she's gonna worry about that the whole way through. But she's just gonna continue to deliver a really excellent experience for you guys. So I'm personally excited for Campaign 5.
I do have a request.
You have to tell my secret somewhere.
I just realized.
Itty bitty shoes.
Ginge, if we ever, not if, when the revolution comes, I just need like a lot of French style music behind that first charge. You know, it's important.
You got it.
I'm gonna go ahead. I know you've been given some distinct instructions for how to get the tone across, but maybe I can suggest for when we get into one of our moods, which you guys will come to know and love. Maybe we call it bubble punk.
Yeah.
Bubble punk.
Cute.
Bubble fey punk.
Ooh, love
Bubble
that.
fey punk.
I kind of
There we
love
go.
that for those moments though, because I know exactly which ones you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking about like Sex Pistols. I'm talking about like some Skids. I'm talking about like get you ready to throw a trash can anthems.
Throw some Molotov cocktails.
Hell
too.
yeah, anarchy.
That kind of vibe, yeah.
So yeah, you got
Fuck
that to
the
look forward to,
patriarchy.
listeners.
Yeah, it is a treat so far.
Actually, fuck the matriarchy, right? Isn't that where we are?
Fuck
Both.
all Arkies. If there's
It's
an
all
Arky,
Arkies.
it's out of here.
Even the anarchy, we're gonna that too.
No, that's the worst one of them all.
The original.
All right. Well, thank you guys for playing 20 questions with me, and I know we wanted to end this with the huge, so I'll kick it off to you, Shane, and your sweet rolling hands.
The ASPCA. Hey, they help the animals. They're important. I don't even have a dice roller up. Fuck my whole world.
Make up a number, bro. We always do.
I'm not making up a number. It has dice have to happen.
Just pay for the app, bro.
I
Just
got
pay
one
for the
here.
app.
Here's $1.
It's a 12.
Hell yeah.
It's $12.
Great. Let me help. I'm go ahead and take over from here. Hey, everybody. I have a real easy job. I just want you to go to join Discord. That's it. That's all I'm asking. If you're here, you've made it so many campaigns in. We're not going to spoil anything. There's a ton of channels you can get in, a bunch of different stuff you can be into. Anime, D&D, some real role-playing things, old characters you have. I mean, pretty much anything you want to talk about. There's a channel. You can ignore the rest. That's what I do. We'll see you there. Discord.lawfulstupid.org.
Hey guys, and I just wanted to jump in and do my normal thing, which is, hey, go to Ginge's SoundCloud and just loop his fucking music.
Oh, I'm going to
Play some
add that
things.
to my list.
I know
I
we're gonna
fuck
get
to
the
it.
ping
I'm
when we
just
get the campaign for when we get the campaign for soundtrack up and ready to go. I know we're all gonna get the ping from Ginge. I personally can't wait for a handful of bangers. I can't wait.
The
actually.
remixes are on point for Campaign 5. I'll say
It's-
that.
Oh
It hurts my
God,
bones.
yes.
In fact, they're not in the world every day.
There's gonna be soup and buttholes for days. I'll let you just think about that.
Speaking of my language.
Baby. Shane and I get soup. Devin gets a load of buttholes.
Ginge, tell us about all the places we can find you, man, besides SoundCloud.
Avon's house.
Look at that. To be fair, we did just say Ginge's SoundCloud. If you want to actually find me there,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
soundcloud.com/Zach-Shepherd. I wasn't Gingerloaf when I created this, so it's my real name. Unfortunately,
He
for less exciting.
became
Oh, it's
ginger
important how to
ale
spell
then I
shepherd.
got enough experience to evolve.
Well,
into
there is a
ginger ale.
link in the
And-
show description, I believe. Truthfully.
Yes, there is.
There will
Yeah,
be
so you can
now.
grab one.
No, it already is. It's already there.
Yeah, I don't spend. I detached myself from social media many years ago. I don't really live in that world anymore. I
You're unplugged.
live in the world that's in front of me. But
You
for the most part,
motherfucker, what do you do for work? What do you do for work? You get off your fucking
do-
high horse.
Come on now. It's a virtual reality job, all right? Get out of here.
It's right in front of him. That's what he means. He's
It
right.
is
Oh.
right in front of me.
He's creating the
Touche.
new digital utopia, and he's
But
like,
I-
"Oh yeah, the one in front of us is great."
I don't have to concern
Puts more
myself
tits on a
with
tree.
whose birthday it is or what
Yeah.
thing they're eating in any given point in time. But yeah, I think the best way, like the only things I really have to point you to is you can do SoundCloud, or I just released a game on Steam called Voxelotto Garden. It's a little indie game. If you like the Chow Garden from Sonic, you'll like that game for the most
It's
part.
fun.
And
I've played it.
Same.
It's it was a 6-month project that ended up being a 3-year project because people my team stopped working on it, and I had to pick up that pace and stuff like that. So I'm really happy with what I was able to do with it to get it through to the other side, and glad to have it off my chest. So if you really want to just support me, it's either going to be SoundCloud, or it's either going to be my games, or it's
Yeah,
gonna
go
be
buy
Lawful
this game.
Secret.
It's
So
reasonably priced
pick one
for
of
the
those
amount
two.
of like fun you get out of it. So don't even it's a steal, truly.
If you can't spend $5 on a decent Steam game, like an indie Steam game, then I sort of fear for you.
Get out of
You
our
can do it.
podcast. I'm on his team.
Get out of this podcast. Any other developer would have taken those 3 years and been like, I'm more important than that. $45.
Oof.
45.
That would have been rough. I wouldn't have sold anything.
There's not even microtransactions.
Ooh.
That's true. There's
Oh, yeah.
not. It's just
No
it's just
ads
real
either.
fun.
Just kidding, there won't be. I'm not.
Give me a chow with a huge. Anyway,
I don't have any bits at the end.
Sausage?
Wait until episode 1 of season
song in
5.
its heart.
Okay.
Well,
We
We
love
love
you.
you.
We love
Love
you.
you.
boy.
Bye.
Bye.
Never fuck with the Derringer.
Don't fuck with the Derringers. Oh, he just left the chat.
Stupid.
We'll happily keep on chatting about any D&D thing people want to have. We'll happily keep on chatting about any D&D thing people want to have.
Stupid. Definitely worth the wait.